Well, folks, I have to admit I feel kind of a bit of an idiot doing this demonstration, and then it didn't turn out quite as well as I had hoped. I've had a lot more streaking with this side. Probably, I would say it still looks a lot better than it would have been if I would have just spray painted. And I'm not even sure, I haven't tried the other method, the other paint roller method, but I'm not even sure how easy it is to get that, you know, all even. I'm not very happy with this, though I think if I would have done it without the, you know, if I had done it without the roller, I think it would have looked worse. I don't know, I can't explain it, but the left side of the car was a lot harder to do than the right side of the car. I don't know if it has anything to do. I was still using the same hand, but I don't know, my flow was off or something, you know, like normally I'm very good at keeping the, you know, shaking the can while I'm, you know, while I'm not spraying and I'm doing the paint roller, but for some reason it was harder to do on this side. I don't know if that contributed to the spray, you know, the streaking. So, I don't know. I'll leave it up to you to judge. I still think, I mean, this side still looks better than that, you know. You know, it still looks better. This is the worst with just spray painting only. And at its best, I mean, the door looked a lot nice. And, well, let's see what the hood. Well, the hood I did a very good job with just spray painting. You know. So, I don't know, I'll leave it to you to judge. I will continue to use the paint roller because I do think it really does help. This wasn't the best demonstration. Admittedly, this side does have a lot more streaking, and I don't know, I had a harder time with it, and there's a lot of little imperfections on this side too that I think kind of made things a little more difficult. But, you know, I think it does, I think the paint roller does help. I really do believe that, you know, even though this wasn't the best of the jobs, I think it would have looked a lot worse if I hadn't used the paint roller. So, you know, it's a useful tip. You know, you can decide, you know, in the end, with all things, you always have to figure out what works best for you. I really hate mixing things. That's really my issue. And I don't know. Personally, I don't think even if I would have, you know, even if I do the roller method, I might wind up with a situation just like this. You know, I even do it with my walls and all that. So, I think the paint roller works a little better for me. I think it's a little more even than it would be without it. But in the end, as I said, you have to figure out what's best for you. I'm presenting that tip. It can work really nicely. Like, I think this side looks really great. And I used the same method. But for some reason, I had a harder time with the left side than the right side. I can't explain it. So, thanks for watching. Hello, everyone. Well, I've decided now that I got the most crucial areas covered to make things a little easier on myself as far as painting, to, you know, reduce how much I have to paper. I decided to divide the car up into threes. So, I was going to do, you know, I divided the back, the middle, and the, you know, the front. And I think it is making things easier. Yesterday, I was going to do this side, the passenger side right, back, the bumper, and the driver's side back. And then what happened is I wound up getting a late start yesterday. I didn't get out until 2, and it's winter now, so our days are shorter. And so I was in the middle of painting, and I noticed it was getting a lot darker, and then I looked over and it was rain clouds coming, you know. And I had just been spray painting this part. And I was like, oh, you know, fudge. I didn't say fudge. So I decided to go ahead and just finish the part I was doing. And then I was kind of praying to the Lord. I was saying, please, Lord, can you just, I know there's people that are praying for much more worthy things like treating their cancer or bringing world peace or making their crops more productive. But can you just not rain right away, you know, just let my paint dry. That's all I'm asking. Just let the paint dry, and then you can thunderstorm all you like. Please, Lord. And to tell you the truth, I was a little pessimistic about the Lord being obliging, because earlier that day I had kind of been rather unchristian. My mom, the garbage truck was coming down one side of the street, and my mom was kind of inching past Steve, and I was going, ah! And she was like, don't worry, I'm not going to hit the garbage man. And I said, I'm not worried about you hitting the garbage man, I'm worried about you scratching the paint. So I was a little worried that I didn't want her to run over the garbage man, but I didn't want her to scratch the paint either. But anyway, I was a little worried the Lord would remember that and not be very obliging. And it did. It sprinkled a little bit, but it didn't wind up messing up the paint job, which I was very happy. So anyway, today I was going to show you, I've been very happy. I thought I had figured out, you know, a way to reduce the streaks or make them almost non-existent when spraying with using a spray can. And I was very happy to find this out, because spraying is a lot easier. And so I did my demonstration video, and then I wasn't very happy because it didn't quite turn out too well. And I'm figuring what the problem is, folks, is that cars are just like people, I guess. You know, ladies, well, ladies, I don't know if men have this problem since they usually have shorter hair. But if you do your hair, there's always one side that is limp and the other side, you know, it doesn't matter how much products you use, there's always one side that's always going to be a little limper than the other side. You know, even when you're putting on makeup or other things like that, you know, I'm speaking by a chick point of view, I know that. But, you know, there's always seems to be one side of your face that's more even or looks better than the other side, you know. And cars apparently are kind of the same thing. And it's very possible with Selena too. We've noticed we're pretty much under the strong suspicion that Selena was kind of pieced together at some point. That she had been in an accident and that they might have exchanged parts, and some of these parts may not be hers, or maybe they are hers but they were banged out, you know. So the right side I did pretty well with, and I even managed to do pretty well with the bumper, which was really, really hard to do because, you know, bumpers are kind of, well, for one thing, bumpers are plastic. They're not metal like the rest of the car. Actually, I'm not even sure if her back sides are metal. Well, that might be, but I swore that this was plastic, a little, at least lower down. It didn't feel quite like metal, but I'm not sure. Anyway, the bumper is plastic, definitely. And then I got to this side, and I was not at all, and here I was doing my demonstration video, and I was not at all pleased because it did streak, despite my best efforts. And, you know, and I changed the roller, and I did everything I normally do, and I still wound up with this streaking. And, but, I don't know, I am still pleased with it. It looks pretty good. and I mean, it is, after all, the primer. I am so glad I chose to prime. Because if nothing else, priming gives you a feel for, well, spray painting, but it's gonna warn you where the troublesome parts of the car are. And this side is definitely troublesome. I was noticing as I was spray painting, it's kind of faint now. But there was these two little arrow-shaped dents, kind of an M-shaped. They were there. There were some little specks of paint that had flaked off the car, and it was showing the bare metal underneath. It wasn't rusted, but there was definitely something, it was missing. There were a lot of problems. I mean, I'm not probably a pro at this, but I definitely had more problems with this side than I did the others. And actually, I found I might have made some mistakes. One, I didn't wash it first. I had washed it yesterday. I didn't figure it could have gotten that dirty. I wiped it down with mineral spirits, but maybe I should have washed it. Because my mom did go out today, so maybe it did get a little dirtier. But I'm not sure, when I was sanding this, I had a harder time sanding this side. It might, actually, I don't know, maybe this side's a little more shinier. My mom was suggesting that maybe more of the, actually, yeah, she might be right about that. That some of there's more of a sheen on this side. Maybe that the shellac that they had used might be stronger on this side. And that I may have not managed to sand it off as much. Maybe there wasn't quite as much on this side. Let me see. Yeah, she might be right to some degree. There may not be. Well, I don't know. But maybe this side doesn't have as much. I don't know. But that was one theory. But I am going to know that this next time when I start deciding to paint, I'll know that this is going to be a troublesome side. And it was hard for me to kind of flow. Usually I do pretty well shaking my paint can while I'm, going over it with going over with roller. I don't know. For some reason I was having a harder time with that. I don't know. And the spray paint, one problem with spray paint is that it is very inconsistent. Like this paint that I was shaking up today, it took a long time for that little clack thing inside of it to start moving. I was actually getting worried that there was something wrong with it, and I don't know, maybe there was something wrong with it, but I don't know if it just hadn't been sitting. I had bought those spray paints in a box rather than individually, so I don't know. But this is going to be probably a troublesome side. And I'm glad I primed first, because that warned me, that gave me the opportunity to warn me about that. And, but spray paint can be very inconsistent. I guess it relies very much on what the temperature's like. And how badly abused it gets, the cans get. Because I go to Home Depot, and one of the reasons why I got the stuff in the box is because the spray cans that were out on the shelf, some of them had been used, and some of them their tops had been chipped. Spray cans tend to get really abused a lot. So I think all of that can result, and there's probably a million variables about the surfaces that you do that make them inconsistent as well. So word of the wise is, when you're doing if you plan to do your own car, try to be cool about it. Oh, I gotta hurry up here, my camcorder's getting low. Just realize that, there's going to be, as I said, every part presents its own challenge. Just be cool. And, you know, try not to get too upset over things, and just realize that, you know, what works well on one side is not going to work well on another, and, you know, so forth and so forth. And now, folks, I have to conclude this video because my camcorder is running out of juice. So stay tuned. We're almost done with the priming. It's just this door and the two front sides. I am going to have to repair this before that, but other than that, we are almost done priming, and then it's going to be painting. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching.